Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the General Show. We're back with another interesting episode. Before we continue, remember this channel is all about health, wealth, finance, and everything in between. So, today we'll be talking about something called the two-pot retirement system, which was brought in. Well, they are trying to implement it by the end of March 2024 in hopes that people who are eligible will be able to have better returns on their retirement, because their argument is that most people when they retire they don't have enough money to fund their lifestyles or what they were used to. So they're trying to implement a two-part system, right? So for the people who don't know much, essentially this two-part system is, number one, for people who are eligible to qualify. Number one, permanent employment. You obviously must be working and you must file your taxes for obvious reasons. As long as you have a permanent job, they're going to take a certain portion of your monthly income and then send it into your retirement fund, hence the two-part system. So essentially, what the two-pot system does is it seeks to encourage South Africans to save non-retirement funds by establishing that there should be a savings pot and then also a retirement pot, hence the definition of a two-pot system. So I'll break it down as simple as I can, and then I'll stop when need to be, explain further, and then you take it from there. So essentially, with the two-pot system, there's a savings pot which you access before your retirement, but then there's a limit to it, and then there's a retirement pot which you can only access when you retire, because what most people do is they work somewhere 10 years, they qualify for a certain retirement portion, literally take all of that money, do whatever they do with it, and then it literally minuses their overall retirement fund. So let's say in 10 years they accumulated about 500k, and at the end of when they fully retire they would have accumulated, let's say 1.5 million. Because they took out that 500k, they will only be eligible for a million, and that's before deductions of tax and so forth. So what this pot is, it wants to have a saving access where there's a limited amount you can access, and then the rest goes to the retirement pot, which you will get at the end when you retire as a lump sum, and then the rest of it you get it through annuity, which basically means a equal payments from your pension which they get. So why would people need this two-pot system? As I've mentioned earlier on, people earn, but then they horrible savers, they have a lot of debt, and what they earn unfortunately doesn't cover for the lifestyle that they want for themselves and so forth, hence why they want the system. They're hoping that it will create a better form of wealth creation or preservation for them as the periods go by. So the second reason why this was created is because people have assets, aka the pension money, which they can't easily access in case of an emergency. But then because of a two-pot system, they can, in case of emergency, they can access a bit, and then the other one still goes to retirement. So it's sort of a saving grace, but it does have its limitation. Personally, for me, I wouldn't even want to touch it, because if you're touching money now, unless you replace it, where you're going to get the balance of it as life is becoming more expensive on the daily. We are taxed more. Generally, our currencies are all weakening. Literally all the currencies in the world are weakening. So you're literally robbing yourself in the later on period of your life. Okay, so one of the major risks is for the previous savings plan was that you would withdraw a huge lump sum of their retirement savings, and because they withdrew it, they are unable to work it back because remember, depending on how much you earn and what sort of schemes should be taken from your salary for your retirement, that money is accumulating. So when you're changing jobs after 10 years and that's accumulated a certain amount, the old system you could take a huge lump sum, but then this one is very limiting, which I believe is very good. It's going to teach people restraint, which is what people need. Our people unfortunately aren't the most financially literate, and I hate that the country is run under a system of credit. Other countries like Uganda, for instance, if you don't have the money for something, you simply cannot afford it or get access to it. They were pointing to things like a car, a house, and so forth. So obviously that builds a strong character of a person needs to be able to accumulate money, and then that's when they can access assets instead of credit, because credit has its many drawbacks. It's very dangerous in the long run. If not used properly, it becomes a pit hole essentially, and unfortunately that's what happens because many people, I'm sure you've heard many people say just before after payday, 3 4 5 days after, they say, oh, I don't have money and so forth, and then you're like, but you just got paid. So credit system is the one that creates these such things, which is not the best for people, you see. So the other risk with pension funds essentially is they have a low investment return. And for me it's just like having a savings account. That thing is just, you are delaying the inevitable of money being spent instead of you maximizing the goals to such a high level. But yes, those are some of my comments. And remember, we're here to learn financially, so it's not a bad thing which we're doing. Literally looking at the system, sussing it out, understanding how it works, commenting on it, because remember, as I say, we are just conversationalists. We're creating the conversation to build awareness and the comfortability of talking about money in a healthy way. Money is not horrible in any form or manner. It is one of the best things on earth. You just need to have a healthy relationship with it. And the only way to have a healthy relationship with something is understanding it, learning its pros and its cons, and then can sit down and maneuver around it according to those set precedences of it. Okay, so how it works is, as I mentioned before, on the 1st of March 2024, your retirement money, 1/3 of it go into a savings account. I presume that savings account will be, the interest rates will be according to South Africa's interest rate, which is about 6% all the way up to 11%. So that's how it will flow. And then 2/3 of it goes into your retirement pot, the pot that you get when you're 60 or 65, or unfortunately when you're ill, and then you have to declare that it's time for you to retire. So how the first pot works is, your savings pot is, you will be allowed to withdraw money, but then the money has a limit, right? Some are saying 50k, some are saying 25k, but then according to what I've gotten, it says amidst that 25k or that 50k, you're only allowed 2,000 per year before there's penalization. So essentially you're given 2,000. I don't know how these, from what they're saying, remember the savings part was meant for you to access money as an emergency. So 2,000, I don't know how that is a form of helping with an emergency. It can't even do much with normal groceries. So interesting what they are telling us, see. And as I said, you will be taxed according to savings criteria for South Africa. I'm not sure, maybe there'll be a blanket need to have a certain percentage because these are retirement funds, but then 2,000 for the year, it's from a grand total of 25 or 50,000. See, and then all other contributions will go to retirement, and you can't withdraw it. Even when you change jobs, you literally can't. Your only limit will be your savings pot, which is 1/3, and then 2/3 you can't touch it under any circumstance unless you deem retirement or ill health or whatever form of instability that may have come about in this life, and then you'll be taxed according to that retirement sum. You see? So, as I mentioned, the advantages of this is they are hoping that people have high retention for their retirement funds. They're also hoping that it will teach people a way of saving. I'm not sure how, but hey man, you need to give things time. Maybe I don't understand them correctly, but then that's what they're saying. And I'm glad that this whole two-part system is giving people the option with their money, because the old one is it's either you take a huge lump sum now or in 10 years or when you retire. But then now with the savings one, at least it gives you an option. Yes, it's not a lot of money, but it's better than something, because remember, not some people are too over indebted, and then that causes so many problems for them. So this is sort of some form of relief. Obviously we can't all be satisfied, because yeah, we're working and all of that. And unfortunately, the cons of it is you'll be taxed. So the more you touch either one of these parts, you'll be taxed, and the tax man always wins regardless of how much you earn. So you just need to be smart about it. If you're going to touch the money, understand fully the repercussions of the taxes which will take place. And unfortunately, people will be tempted to max out all of these limits, either the 50,000, the 25,000, or the 2,000 per year. I know people are, yeah, we like testing the boundaries of things, and yeah, it is one of those things that hopefully, in theory, just like South Africa's constitution, the policy sounds good, but it's the implementation and the making sure people know about the system, that is the major crux of it all. That is what is going to set people apart from every single thing, you see. So yeah, that is the happenings of the happenings. Besides that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning into this episode. We're all learning here every single day. I'm also a student of the financial system, and hopefully you enjoyed the episode, you learned something new. Please do further research. Please conduct your own opinions. Feel free to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Besides that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.